You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello Night Nation. I am Andrew Phegley, and we are live from the Dever Team studios and the WDBO studios. This is Knightline at Night. Call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. Brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. We are taking your calls, 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326. Or use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. We'd love to hear from you there. I am AP Andrew Phegley. My Twitter handle is AP_Knightline or UCF_Knightline. We got Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Roger Phipps is with me at Night Bengal, and he's in the Santa Rosa Beach studios tonight. And then Sam Take a Left at Albuquerque is in the WDBO studios, making us sound good for you. Check out Sam's podcast that's on the Knightline Sports Network as well. You can find that at knightlinesports.com. Well, guys, we have some football. There was football played this weekend.
That's right, real FBS football.
I'm excited. Roger, what do you think about that?
Well, I think I watched some football. I wouldn't call all of that FPS level football. Poor Navy. They got trounced by BYU this weekend. But, I absolutely enjoyed it. I actually watched games that I normally wouldn't. So I watched the FCS game. The AAC had 3 games this weekend. I got to watch, I was really curious about Memphis. SMU kind of disappointed me a little bit. But it was exciting just to watch them again, man. AAC football live, and none of them had pumped-in crowd noise, and it actually sounded kind of decent.
Yeah, I think that there's, the players on the sidelines and stuff, they're screaming and yelling. I mean, that makes definitely some noise. Ben, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that, and I read this somewhere online, probably Twitter or whatever, Navy, this is a quote, I think, something like this. Navy made a mockery and made the AAC look bad against BYU the other night.
Well, I don't know if they really represented the entire conference, but they certainly didn't represent themselves very well as a football team. Did they make the entire conference look bad? I don't know about that. The problem is that this Navy team was expected preseason wise to be right there at the kind of that second tier, the top of that second tier of the conference after UCF, Cincinnati, and Memphis, kind of right there. Could they be SMU? Could they be right there with them? And boy, did they lay an egg. They just got bullied by a BYU team that just came in there and just destroyed them. Yeah,
the score, BYU 55, Navy 3. And this was a team that did not look like Navy playing ball at all. They have been well known for their defense being really, really stout, and they had none. 0.
Yeah.
BYU ran for over 300 yards against them. And they had, I don't even know how many guys. I'd have to count here. There's probably 15 guys that ran the ball for BYU. Navy only ran the ball for 119 yards and threw for 30 yards. So normally you would see this 300 yards or more coming from Navy, but this time it was BYU. BYU had one running back, Tyler Algier, that ran for 132 yards on 15 carries, averaged 9.4, 2 touchdowns. And then they had a couple other guys, above 50 yards, and then the rest of them, just had a couple of yards each. But they just ran all over them. I mean, it wasn't even a game.
Well, the big part about it was Coach Ken had come out and said that they didn't even have one live tackling drill this entire offseason. So these guys, especially defensively, were tackling donuts, and that's pretty much it. So, you can't expect a team to go out there and play at a top level if you can't even practice and smash pads and against one-on-one versus one. So it makes me wonder about teams like Temple, who, they haven't had a single practice where they've had a full practice yet all year either. So what does that do for them?
Well, I mean, that's the fault of whoever is running their system. It's the fault of their ADs, number one, because you can't expect to play with the big boys if you can't go out there and even hit yourselves out there. You have to hit something, because you're going to get out there and you're going to get knocked around like little girls. And that's what happened. Navy, played like little girls. I mean, because they didn't hit anybody. And then when they did get hit, they were like cowering. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible. And one of the worst football games I've seen in a long time. BYU came to play.
They really did. And what an opportunity lost by Navy, right?
Yeah.
They lost the game against Notre Dame. Obviously, they couldn't play that against Notre Dame in general, but they certainly couldn't have that marquee matchup overseas like they intended to. And
thank God they didn't. Jeez, could you imagine?
That would be a long plane ride back.
Normally on the show we would be talking about UCF, obviously, but I just thought that this was such a big deal, and this was the closest game to today. It was last night, so I figured we would talk about this a little bit. Sam, I want to ask you, what did you watch this game? What did you think?
Yeah, not much of a BYU Navy guy, not going to lie there. So I missed this one. I put that one aside and watched the little Utah Jazz versus the LA Clippers last night.
Yeah, you're an NBA guy.
I love college football. I'm looking at the schedule this week. I'll probably watch a little Syracuse, North Carolina. But once that evening slate comes around, I'm not going to miss Utah versus LA to watch Louisville versus Western Kentucky. That's for sure.
I'm boycotting UNC versus Syracuse because they didn't play us. They turned tail, didn't play us. And granted, it was because of the conference, but I'm not going to watch that game because of that. Yeah,
That's the best game on the slate. I'm looking at this slate. It's kind of ugly. You got Notre Dame and Duke. That might be watchable, and then Georgia Tech and Florida State. Other than that, it's not pretty.
I will watch any football before I watch the NBA. I don't care if it's East LA against Compton. I mean, I don't care who it is. I'm watching football. It could be high school football before I watch the NBA.
Andrew's watching the Snoop Dogg Bowl.
Exactly. That was just what I came up with. It is what it is. All right. So we got some clips from UCF coaches. Alex Golesh talked, and then Anthony Tucker talked as well. We're going to play those here in a little while. We're still, trying to get a little bit more stuff here from them. They've been pretty good at putting it out in the last few weeks. So hopefully we'll get some players talking before the season starts. We have not had any players talk yet.
Yeah, we had a couple over the a few months ago with Dylan Gabriel, and we had a couple of those, but yeah, not
since,
much.
Like camp has started and
You're
all
right.
that stuff. They've had Zoom calls with the coaches. Heupel was last week. And then this week, or I guess it was last week for these guys as well, before the weekend. So it's early in the week. It's Tuesday. It seems like Monday to me.
It does. To everyone.
I hope everybody enjoyed their Labor Day weekend. I had a blast. Did some horseback riding on the beach, which was pretty awesome up in Amelia Island. So that was good stuff. Hopefully everybody else had a good Labor Day weekend. All right. Do you want to get to these clips? Should we just play some of them real quick?
Sure.
We got a couple minutes here. All right. Let's hear what Alex Golesh, he is the tight ends coach / offensive coordinator, co-offensive coordinator, actually. So one of the big things that UCF is trying to get better at, they've recruited a lot of tight ends. Let's hear what he has to say about the tight ends.
The tight end position has come along. We put such a big emphasis on trying to get somebody ready behind Jake. Jake has done a good job of trying to lead and learning how to lead and continuing to push forward, both in our room and as a senior on the offense as well. Zach has come along pretty well. This offense is unique to where it takes a minute. Not having spring ball, I think, hurt Zach in a lot of ways, so he's had a lot of catch up to do. And then getting the young guys ready between Tony Forrest and Alec Holler, trying to make sure we could find some balance there to where what happened a year ago where Jake went down and really felt like you didn't have somebody that could come in and step into that role. It's been a huge emphasis in our room.
All right, talking about some names there that you may not know who he was talking about. He was talking about Zach Wojan and who was the other guy? Hescock.
Hescock's definitely the
Jake
starter.
Jake Hescock,
yeah.
So those guys will be Zach Marsh-Wojan, I guess is how he goes by, and then Jake Hescock. Those will be, I think, the two big guys this year as far as the tight ends go. Jake Hescock, a couple of years ago, I believe, was he the one that came from Notre Dame? I think he may have come from Notre Dame a couple of years ago. And then Zach Marsh-Wojan is he's a junior, but he came from junior college. He's a junior college guy.
Yeah, he was out there in California, Sac City, I think.
Yeah. So the other guy that probably most of the local people want to hear about would be Jordan Davis. And he is a freshman from Sanford, Florida, Sanford High School. And in his senior season, he tore his ACL. So later on in that interview with Alex Golish, he said that he will probably not play at all this season. So that's kind of a bummer for Jordan Davis. He's Gabe Davis's little brother. So that's a bummer that we're not going to see him this year. But that's, an ACL is a big deal to come back from as well. So we'll get
Andrew,
him.
It was Wisconsin that he transferred
Wisconsin,
from.
that's right. I'm sorry. We had somebody else from Notre Dame besides that quarterback.
I'm completely blanking.
That we had, yeah.
It was Parker Boudreaux, the offensive lineman.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, he went there, and then that's right. Thank you, Sam. That was good UCF knowledge there, Sam.
I like basketball, but I went to UCF and I watch UCF football. It's not like I'm in the shallow.
All you watch
here,
is
guys.
the NBA.
I love the NBA, but I love football
the NBA
more.
and some weird soccer.
I do enjoy some weird soccer, but the only reason I know Parker is because he's from the area. He went to Bishop Moore, and I think he got the most offers of any other player within the country that year. That's why I know where Parker ended up.
Yeah, Parker and Roger. I guess you did say that. I didn't hear you though.
I will say, though, just to go back to the tight end, just to reel this in and go back to the tight end's position real quick. I mean, Jake Hescock has been talked about by Heupel. He's been talked about now, of course, by Golesh. And he's absolutely, he's the starter at the tight end position, and he goes on to talk about Golesh does talk about how well he's progressed over the off season and just leading into this year. He's a clear leader on that offense, and he's ready to go at that tight end position. So that's exciting.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to talk more UCF football when we get back from this break we're going to take here, and we'll do that right now, and we'll be back in a couple minutes.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
And now, Back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios and the WDBO Studios. Call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. But we are brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. We are taking your calls, 844-580-WDBO-9326, 844-580-9326. Or use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. We got Ben Stout, we got Roger Phipps, Night Bengal, and we've got Sam Take a Left at Albuquerque tonight with us here, and we're talking UCF football. Did I say Ben Stout?
You did.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Appreciate
I didn't want to leave anybody out. It's Andrew and friends, so we got all these people here. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned everybody, so everybody felt included. And
you got it. You nailed
what
it.
Do they? I can't remember what they say, but anyway. So yeah, let me play a couple more clips here from. Let's hear a Anthony Tucker clip here about standouts from practice so far for UCF.
Guys have stood out all over the place with the guys that no one's heard of quite yet. I think what we saw in recruiting is what we're seeing, with some of those young guys. Josiah's Cradle is a guy that has really stood out. As far as when you have a guy in high school, you wonder how long it's going to take to translate to our field. He's a really good young guy that I think we're going to hear a lot from here. He's had a really good camp. Some of the younger guys that have stood out, Ryan O'Keefe has done a really good job. Played a little bit last year, but he's really, really matured and developed. Jalen Robinson has really stood out and developed. There's been a ton of development in that wide receiver room. Those guys are coming along really well. Amari Johnson, Kayvon Ahmad, Jay Harrison, and the other guys. Marlon Williams is getting better. Trey Nixon, been unbelievable. So a lot of good young depth, and I'm excited about it. Got a couple of new tight ends in there. They're learning. We're building depth all over the place in our offensive line. There's been some young guys that have really come along, that have done really well. Matt Lee, Lokaihi, a lot of really, really bright spots. Now it's just a matter of getting these guys ready to play.
All right, so that is Anthony Tucker, and he is the running backs coach and co-offensive coordinator as well with Alex Golish. So they're excited. It sounds like there's a lot of guys stepping up. You're going to hear that name a lot, Josiah's Cradle. You watch this guy. Watch this guy. I'm telling you, he is going to be an exciting guy to watch this year. A freshman, tall, lanky receiver. I think that he's going to do some good things. And another thing that I noticed that he said there was that Marlon Williams is getting better. If Marlon Williams gets much better, I don't know who else is going to be able to play on the field, because that guy is awesome. So this is a really, really short segment here, and we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back on Knightline at Night.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this.
We need to stop blaming Jerry, because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys?
My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Yeah. Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated, because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network. Thank you for your time, and now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
Alrighty, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios and the WDBO Studios. Call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs. 386-690-1636. Brought to you by Chad Bar Law. Raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. We're taking your calls, or you can use the open mic feature on the WDBO app, 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326. All righty. So we got Roger Bengal here. We got Sam Take a Left at Albuquerque, and we got Ben Stout. We're talking UCF football. We've played a couple clips from the co-offensive coordinators. We're going to play a couple more. So let's get back to those clips real quick here. This one I really like. And this, I'm going to set this up a little bit, and I'll play the question. Normally I do not play questions that reporters ask. I just play the clip of what the coach said or whatever. But this question was posed by our friend Brandon Hellwig, thank you, at UCFsports.com. And here was his question. This is a little bit of a long one, so here we go.
With, not having spring or just having a limited spring ball, guys at home for a few months, what kind of quality changes do you think maybe we'll see when games get going? Do you think teams may not be in as good condition as they would have been otherwise? Do you think we're going to see some sort of difference when the games get going?
That's a fascinating question. I think just like everybody else, I tuned in last Saturday in the Central Arkansas Austin P game to see the answer to that. I think this will be an ultimate challenge of teams' cultures and programs' cultures in general in two ways. One, how much detail can you pour into this limited offseason, and into really a limited camp? We're fortunate we don't play until the 19th, but I think it challenges the culture of your program first in what kind of detail can you pour into your offensive, defensive, and special team schemes? Do you have to stay simpler, or can you continue to push forward and do the same thing that you were able to do a year ago with a normal off season? I think the programs whose cultures are at a high level will show up, and the detail won't be noticed in terms of pre-snap penalties and, guys being in shape and the finer points that end up winning and losing games. Third down, red zone. And I think the second part of it in terms of challenging a team's culture is, can guys stay healthy? Can guys push through nicks and continue to go? And can guys continue to show up testing negative with this virus? I think those are both things that'll test your culture. Our job as coaches and as leaders within the program is to continue to educate these guys, one, from a football side, two, from mitigating risk in terms of who you're around, when you're around them, wearing face coverings, not doing maybe things on Saturday night that traditional college students do. And that's why I say it'll test your culture. We've challenged these guys on offense every single day that you are different. There is something different for you on a Saturday night than the average college student. And knock on wood, we've done a really good job with that, and we'll continue to challenge them. I think these are still 18 to 22-year-old young men that are in college at an incredible place to go to school. Come outside and there's palm trees and the weather's incredible. I think the natural urge for an 18 to 22-year-old is to not go to your apartment and watch TV on your own. But we've continued to challenge them. And I think it'll be the ultimate sign of every program nationally. What is the culture of your program? Can your guys continue to behave accordingly? And we're at a different time in society, and with this virus, there's a lot of things going on that these guys have to deal with that probably in my career, guys have not had to deal with. And so we'll continue to challenge them and educate them. I think the expectations within our walls are very similar to the expectations that are out there, that you're going to come out and play incredible football week in, week out. We'll continue to challenge them that the detail's right. I think as you watch football last Saturday, It's the special teams. It's the pre-snap penalties. Those are all things that our guys need to continue to learn and push through so that on the 19th, the football is as clean as it can imaginably be.
All right, so exactly there. I mean, he said it. He said it all right there, and that's why I wanted to play that clip. That was the best clip out of the entire press conference, as far as I'm concerned, from him. We saw what happens. We were talking about it a little bit earlier with the Navy BYU game.
Yeah.
We see what happens when teams are not prepared. If you're prepared, you come out and play like BYU did. If you're not prepared, you come out and play like Navy did. So this is what we've all been wondering. I mean, he said that he tuned in that first game, Austin Peay and whoever they played. It was a big deal. Everybody wanted to see what it was going to be like with no fans or small fans in the stands. Everybody wanted to see what the electronic whistles, everything else, and we've seen some good games and we've seen some really bad games.
Yeah, and all eyes, as you said, all eyes are on college football right now. I mean, and especially it's just going to keep going as the weeks progress. I mean, not this coming weekend, following weekend when we gear up for Georgia Tech. That game is like one of 3 or 4 FBS games that entire Saturday. So every moment matters. Every moment leading up to this matters, and that attention to detail has been something that Heupel has stressed from day one here, and you can really see it articulated and carried through Alex Golesh's message there. And that was a fantastic answer to a really good question. He kind of put it in perspective, and I'm glad you tied it back to that Navy BYU game that we saw the other day, because you saw as Roger mentioned,
example.
As Roger mentioned earlier, no tackling drills or no live tackling in their practice leading up to it. I mean, those type of details, it really either pays off or they pay for it on Saturday.
Absolutely. All right, Roger, you got anything to say about that? And then I want you to talk about this new quarterback commit that we just got, Mikey Keene from Chandler, Arizona, another Arizona quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. So as to Mr. Golesh's or Coach Golesh's comments, number one, he seems to be very articulate. Every time I hear him talk or speak, he seems to really know his stuff. And what I think is what you heard from him was they are very aware of the challenges that come with what's going on with this COVID stuff and making sure they have the guys prepared. You have a team that over the past 3 or 4 years have been, well, I would say 3 years, have been marching towards a goal and have a good mix of senior leadership in there that's left. That will keep that team focused on their winning ways. So I think if you combine the coaching staff's attitude and understanding of what the situation is, you've got someone like Randy Shannon, who's also in there, who's a veteran coach. I think that bodes well for the organization as a whole. So when you listen to him speak, it gives me a lot of confidence in our ability to do it. Now, the question is going to be, again, to me, and what I keep going back to is, one, we've already had some game cancellations for people who couldn't practice. So how does that affect our schedule, since we only have 9 games right now, right? 10 if you include the championship game. And number two, what is the quality of play for the conference going to be? So if people like Temple or whomever that is on our schedule get blown out by teams that they shouldn't because they can't practice, does that impact us and our ability to move up in the rankings? So
I was just going to comment on that really quick. I wanted to make sure I piggybacked off that, because that is what makes it so interesting is and that's why we're looking at our conference so closely this year, is because we only have one out of conference game, and it's against a team that won 3 or 4 games last year in Georgia Tech. And that's what makes that, that open date that we have on November 7th so important. If we could possibly fill it with a team like BYU, it would be huge if BYU continues
BYU
to
needs
look
a couple
like they
games
do. Yeah,
as well, right?
exactly.
I mean, they were having a lot of trouble filling their schedule. I'm sure there's other teams out there. I don't really understand what's going on and why we haven't been able to fill out those games. And I was reading on the message board earlier, on the UCF Sports message board. the Rivals board how a couple of people are a little upset about Danny White not working this whole thing out. So there was one guy that was even calling for his job, which I think is crazy. That's absolute crazy.
Absolutely absurd.
The thing about BYU, guys, remember this. We had the November 7th date that both of us had, right? But from what I understand and what I have read, and again, this is nothing official, but from what I have read, essentially BYU said, hey, we'll play you, but you're going to lose your 2023 matchup against us. So basically, we play them in 2023 at home. We've been having a lot of trouble trying to schedule people long term. We're pretty thin when you look at the time, the near future on our future scheduling. So if we lose that home game and that home revenue, we had 7 scheduled for this year. We'd only have 6 home games for that year. That really throws a monkey wrench for the future. So I don't think Danny White would give that up for that if that's the condition.
Well, no, it's all about money and the revenue of those home games. That's a big deal.
I agree with you on the revenue front. Obviously, we need to think about that. But what if BYU continues to win, continues to look impressive, and then all of a sudden we've got them scheduled for a November 7th date, and that could be the difference between a 11-0 season and with a ranked, a really solid ranked win on our record against an independent outside of the American.
That's true.
I mean, I would mortgage the 2023 date for that.
I don't think BYU helps, man. Their schedule is terrible. So if you look at their schedule, other than the fact that they'll probably be, maybe a 1-loss, 2-loss team if they keep playing like they played against Navy, I just don't see that as an advantage for us long term if we're talking about rankings or otherwise. Andrew, real quick, did you want me to jump on that recruit, or did you want me to hold off?
No, go ahead, real quick. You got like 3 minutes, so go ahead.
Oh, no worries. I've gotten used to doing these quickly. So we've got a 3-star dual threat quarterback from Chandler, Arizona, in Mikey Keene. He, remember, is our second Arizona QB, and he also is from the same town as our favorite kicker, Mr. Obarski. So I'm really excited about this guy because he's an extremely mobile quarterback and can make all of the throws.
And can throw on the run, which is
yes.
very impressive from him.
For sure.
He reminds me a lot of KZ. He's 5'11", 180 pounds. He, as a junior, which was last year, he's going in his senior year now, 73% completions on passing. And a lot of his completions were actually longer completions as well. So it wasn't just short passing game that he had those to inflate his completion percentage. He also played on a championship team that for the 5th year in a row won the state championship. And he led that team last year to a state championship as a junior by throwing 2,835 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 73% passing. So this wasn't a guy who had like the perfect circle, right, where he threw one pass and it was a 1,000% QBR. He got 73% passing by throwing 2,800 yards, which is phenomenal. And this team that he's playing for is the biggest school in Arizona and plays not just in state against the toughest competition, they also play nationally. So this guy is not only successful, but he's doing it against the best competition in the country. So I'm extremely excited about him. You watch him play, he can move around in the pocket and he can throw on a dime.
You didn't mention the most important part, though. A 4.53 GPA in high school in his junior year, and he had offers from Harvard and Penn. Those are big. All right. With that, we're going to take a break here. With that, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this. We'll be back on Knightline at night very shortly here.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Hey, Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios and the WDBO Studios. Call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. But we're brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. Got Ben Stout here with me, Roger Phipps, and Sam Take a Left at Albuquerque back in the WDBO studios. We were talking a little bit of UCF. We were talking about Mikey Keene, the newest commit from Chandler, Arizona, dual threat quarterback, 5'11", 180, 175. I'm getting from different places. A heck of an arm, can throw on the run. If you can go to Huddle or any of those things, go watch his tape because he is very, very exciting player. So this 24/7 has him ranked as the 38th highest or 38th ranked dual threat quarterback, the number 17 quarterback in Arizona. But still, the guy is smart, had a 4.5 GPA his junior year in high school, was recruited by all kinds of Ivy League schools, Harvard, Penn, I think Columbia University as well is one. So very smart guy. That's the kind of guy you want as your quarterback. Yale as well. He has so pretty much all the Ivy League schools, maybe one or two missing there, but everywhere else he's got offers from.
Yeah, he's an impressive kid. I mean, not only, as you just mentioned, just how smart he seems to be academically, but just watching his tape, I mean, and I encourage everybody listening to go take a look if you haven't yet, but he not only is got the ability to move a little bit out of the pocket, and he seems to be very comfortable with doing that, but he can take the ball from center. He can, take it out of the shotgun. He's got a little bit of wheels on him, but what I noticed, as you mentioned, is that he can throw the ball really accurately on the run, and it almost across his body, like he's running towards the right sideline.
And it doesn't matter what his feet look like when he throws the ball.
His eyes are always downfield. He reminds me, as Roger said. I mean, I hate the comparison because he's so legendary at this point, but he does remind me a little bit of a young KZ. And also the one last thing I'd say about him that impressed me is he does seem to make decisions very quickly, get the ball out of his hands if he needs to. And so, yeah, I mean, a number seventh ranked high school team in the country in Chandler, a team that he leads up leading into this season. So it's a good get by Heupel and Halsey.
Speaking of KZ, I saw a depth chart the other day, and it had him listed as number 3 on the depth chart.
Okay.
So he is actually on the depth chart at this point. I don't know if that's an official UCF thing. It was actually in a local newspaper I'm not going to say the name of, but I saw that on there. So exciting just to see him even on the depth chart.
Who'd they have as number 2? Was it
Quadri Jones?
Was it Quadri?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Daryl Mack has opted out. We talked a little bit about that last week. So we won't see him this year, unfortunately for him. And, always been a good team guy. Hate to see him opt out, but I completely understand his circumstance. His mom has some issues, and he's got a little kid at home as well. So they don't need any of that going on.
And but
what it does do is it opens the door for a lot of these younger kids. I mean, you heard them talk about who they recruited and having them come in. You're hearing Stretch Creedle's name. I'm excited to hear about Jalen Robinson. I heard he's doing really, really well. So, in spite of the fact that these people sitting, or, we have 10 players that are sitting out, it's providing opportunities, and seems like the folks that we've recruited are really turning heads.
Yeah, we have 5 total. If you take Darryl Mack out of there, we still have 5 total quarterbacks on our roster. So there's a lot. We have Parker Navarro, who
right.
is actually there, and then we have Gaston Moore as well, a walk-on freshman. So there's obviously
be our guest.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth in all kinds of this stuff. And in the coming week, next week, we'll talk a little bit more about this stuff, and maybe we'll go through this roster a little bit and talk more about some of these guys. I had some other clips, but we're really short on time here, so we only got about a minute. Let me play this one. It's pretty short. I want to play this is a quote from Anthony Tucker about how Otis Anderson's been working.
Just really refining and refining all those things that he does so well, because he is a dynamic guy, really dynamic player, really intelligent, building on the football intelligence piece. What happens with those guys, you start to learn about how everything works and how everything fits together. The more and more you play, the game really slows down. And then you start to learn even more the nuances of how to get your job done. And so when you're going into the third year with the same guy, Otis, you can put more on their plate. From year 1 to year 2, gave them more, and we challenged them to do more. And the more and more those guys can do, the more dynamic our offense becomes. All
right, everybody's really excited. I'm extremely excited to see Otis. Otis is one of the most dynamic players that we have on the field for UCF. Really excited for him. All right, we got to go. It is time to go. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next week.